Hello, Pisces. Welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I am so happy to have you here. We are going to dive right into your reading today. And we're going to take a look at what is going on for Pisces today. I'd like to begin my readings by thanking those of you who have been a real integral part of this channel, who like, who share, who subscribe, who comment. I do deeply appreciate all the ways that you have supported me over all of this time. I am so super grateful. So many of you have been here from the beginning, and so many of you watch my videos beginning to end. It's up over a third of you watch the entire video. And my heart just is overwhelmed by it. You know, my heart just feels that so deeply. So thank you so much to each and every one of you. All right, and to those of you who are new to the channel, welcome, welcome. I am very happy to have you here. I hope that if you find a message that brings you peace and clarity, something that resonates deep within, that you will consider joining us on this journey, and you'll subscribe or comment or like or all of the above. All right, guys, let's dive in. Just keep in mind, these are general readings. So take what resonates and leave the rest. For Pisces, please, Spirit. Wow. Okay, Pisces, two definite cards falling out. Okay, you are getting a card of spiritual healing, the goddess of sacred power, and the angel of space clearing. Okay. Guys, you know, on the bottom of the deck, we have this spiritual healing. And, you know, before we move on to the next chapter, you know, we sometimes are even given periods of isolation or periods where maybe not a lot is happening for us to sort of sit with and move through and process and heal what we have just been through. So some of you have been through a really difficult time, probably having to do with relationships. And I feel like you've been given some time to heal, some time to look at it, some time to process it, some time to work through it. Really, you know, finding the gift in it, coming to a sense of peace and acceptance with everything that has happened. When we come to a sense of peace and acceptance with what something is, how it's been, where it's at, where it may stay, where, you know, whether it comes, whether it goes, when we come to a place of peace and acceptance, that is when we really bring ourselves to this reset energy of really being neutral, of really being able to kind of move forward. That, you know, when we can look back and sometimes say, you know, I'm even glad that it happened. I don't know, you know, that's a tricky thing, but you know, I learned something valuable from it, or I accept that it was a part of my path for a reason, and that this is what I learned from it, and that I can take that lesson and kind of use it in a positive way in my life moving forward. And you know, when we come to that place, we're no longer resisting anything, we're no longer fighting with anything, we're no longer engaging with the energy anymore, we're not accidentally sort of holding on to something that we think we've let go of because we're resisting it or trying not to think about it, or trying to move away from it. You know, when you hear yourself say, I'm trying to do this, really look at it. What are you trying to do? Are you really trying, or are you really doing it? And if you're trying to do it, is it the right answer? Is it the right solution? Or do we need to get a different perspective and look at it another way? So this energy of healing is you know, I feel like it's something that you have already done, or a cycle that, you know, it's the end of a cycle that you're closing out. You have this angel of space clearing, and this is what we really have to do before we're ready for something new. We have to make space for it. We have to, you know, consciously decide that we're ready to release anything that is no longer serving us, and release it. And even I tell you guys this, I feel like sometimes I say things all the time, but maybe I don't know. With the full moons, I will ask my spiritual guides, or my angels, or all of the above, or the divine, or God, or the Holy Spirit, or whomever, to help me release anything that is no longer serving me. So whatever part of that, you know, it's just what I offer to you, but it looks as though this is a period of time. You have some new desire, some new thought, some new plan, or something is taking seed here. Intuitively, you know something new is coming, and it's time to make space for it. So we don't want to hold on to old past burdens and allow those past burdens to dictate our future, our present, and our future by taking up space. I mean, you know, definitely not. That's like having a garage full of stuff that you don't really want, you haven't even looked at, it's not of use to you, but it's just, you can't park your car in the garage, and you can't bring anyone in through your garage, and you can't, you know, utilize that space because it's just holding stuff that, you know, you don't know what to do with. It's like, just let it go. You know, you'll feel so much better. And then you have Goddess of Sacred Power. You are being encouraged to take a leading role in your current situation. So it's kind of like you've healed, you've released, you have space for something new, and now here it is. Take control of the situation, and, you know, move with intention. You know, consider, what do I want my life to look like? And then make the free will choices that reflect that. And believe in yourself, trust in yourself, know that you do have the power to bring it into your life. All right, this is a new deck to me. I've never used it before. It's the Path of Shadows deck. So it could have some kind of heavy energy. I have, you know, looked through it, cleansed it, energized it, but let's see. What does it hold? What do we need to know? What does Pisces need to know? What does Pisces need to know? My daughter taught me that if you're going to give someone bad news, always sandwich it in between good things. And so I actually even like did that for the order of your reading. I put the like angels, gods, and goddesses first, and then I have this sweet art deck here. So, okay, let me put my glasses on. I always don't love dark energies, but I don't want to intentionally stay away from them because they do exist, and, you know, ignoring things doesn't make them go away. So, you have Vampire. In the night's embrace where desires ignite, my hunger keeps consuming all in sight. Okay, somebody can't stop thinking about you, Pisces. This is, wow, you could have wow. Oh my goodness. Okay. I feel like I'm connecting to a past energy that is coming up here. For some of you, you know, could this be a relatively new thing happening? It could. Let me tell you what I'm getting here. I'm picking up on someone who literally can't stop thinking about you. They definitely have a strong desire to, I feel like, be with you intimately. I feel that they have, I actually feel there's like a hard time finding peace to go to sleep. I feel like there's just this, they can't stop thinking about you. They may look at your pictures. They may you know, reflect on times that they've shared with you or conversations they've had with you. I do feel a little bit of anxiousness here. So if it is like a newer person, it's like they can't quite figure you out. And it's like they're looking at every clue they have and trying to put those pieces together, but you are a mystery to them. And I think that you're very much kind of something that they weren't expecting. I don't know why, but with this vampire card, I'm getting like real true beauty on the outside, and maybe they thought that that was kind of what they were getting, is someone that they were really attracted to, but like maybe didn't have a lot going on other than that. But I feel like what they have found, you have this venomous garden, and it says beauty conceals truth behind captivating lies. And you know, like this vampire is so pretty, but like what do vampires do? They lure you in and then they attack, right? I don't think that you're luring someone in and then attacking them, but what I feel like is you're luring someone in and there is no end to the luring. It isn't just skin deep, and it isn't just I'm attracted to you, although they are very much attracted to you, and that feels very much like primary in this person's mind. But it's kind of like they don't really it says beware the allure of the dangers that in the shadows hide. It's almost as if it's almost like being attracted to you or attempting to make something happen with you or even coming together with you is exposing to them some things that they, I think, had tried to block off within themselves. It's like, it's very interesting. It's like, you know, I thought this was going to be one way, and then it turns out it was a different way. And I'm just as curious, or maybe more curious, because of the way that it is. But the more that I uncover, it's like it's leading me into this like collision course with myself and things that I haven't wanted to admit or acknowledge or face about myself that I like put behind a closed gate here. And then you have Mystic Swamp, deep dark waters. Your reflection you can't see. You won't find yourself if you don't go deep. Oh my God. Yeah, see how this is? It's like, it's causing this person to like, them have to face themselves on a deeper level than they have so that they can meet you where you're at. And I think this person is so allured and so attracted and so desirous of this that they're sort of like, well, I'll take another step in this direction. Well, I'll do a little bit more. Well, I'll do a little bit more. Well, I'll do a little bit more. It's like that. And there's this whole time that feeling, you know, where you're watching a movie and you're like, no. My husband and I started watching The Lincoln Lawyer, and somebody walked out into a parking garage. I don't want to ruin anything. It's a great show. But they walked out into a garage, and right in the opening scene in the first episode, something happens in a parking garage. And I'm like, no. I looked at my husband, who's already seen, we're in season 2, and he's already seen it. And I said, oh no, I don't want him to go into the parking garage by himself. No, don't do that. Don't do that. And then, you know, something obviously happened. And I have that feeling here where it's like this person is almost watching themselves and going, no, don't do it. Don't do it. No, you've avoided it for so long. No. You know what I mean? Like there's this conflict within this person, even that is being exposed through this, but then they sort of can't help themselves. And then on the bottom of the deck, you have Necromancer, which I don't know. And it says, amidst the whispers of the dead, where mysteries are spread, what should have been gone still here remains. Which is, I think this card more than anything is what's giving me a past person, because it's like, I think this person did definitely try to let this go and felt like maybe they had let it go, or felt like maybe they had moved on, or like that they had sort of, you know, made a decision that, you know, it just wasn't worth it, or it was too heavy, or it was too hard, or it was something more than what they were bargaining for and that they didn't want it. They may have actually tried to end it. but it's not over because they're still kind of obsessed. They're still looking at your your pages, and I think they are still going through this process a bit. So for some of you, it could even be where if you're dealing with someone sort of newish that is moving very slowly, or kind of not necessarily committing, or what is this energy? It just feels a little bit stuck or slow. It can be where that person is even considering, what if it ended? Or maybe they have even sort of felt like maybe it had ended, but then it's like, no. It's kind of like within, it almost renews their efforts here. It's almost like it makes them double down to be like, I can do this, I can face this, I can figure this out. Because it's like I feel like whoever this is, they definitely don't want it to be over. So let's dive into this really nice deck. I forget its name, but I love it. I've had it for years and years and years. Wow. I feel like the energy of it feels like oh my gosh, I'm getting this song. I feel like Bustin' Loose. Oh my gosh, wow, I have no idea where that came from. I feel like Bustin' Loose. Oh my gosh, some Pisces out there knows the song that I'm talking about. Wow. And the imagery that I'm getting is like the big chunk of marble that inside lives the David or the whatever. And so it's almost as if it's like, I feel like someone has sort of not really, I don't want to say that they don't know themselves, but it's like they haven't had to figure it out in a way that, like, it's like they've been able to sort of kind of fly under the radar in life, or just sort of, it's like conform or sort of take on whatever shape they needed to whenever they needed to like kind of fit in, but they don't really know who they are. They've never done the deep dive or the like taking the actual hammer and chisel to their self to say, what do you care about? What makes you happy? What, you know what I mean? And it's like, for some reason, and I think it's Pisces, I think it's because you're so free-spirited. I think you're so creative. I think that it's even like the way that you think, or the way that you see things, or the way that you can even listen to what other people are saying and hear what they're saying, even if it doesn't line up with what you think or your particular viewpoint. And you can sort of put it to them in a way that isn't like confronting, that is very much like this, like, you're showing me through your eyes, and now let me show you through my eyes. And it's expanding their mind to this whole other way. And I think they're kind of saying almost to themselves, why don't I know myself like that? Or why aren't I that loyal to myself? Or why, how, almost maybe even, how did Pisces do that? How did Pisces get there? And, I think that, you may have also started off a big chunk of marble, but there have been a lot of things that have cracked and chiseled and broken pieces off and worn away the stone and washed it out and smoothed it out. And, And so you know exactly what you're dealing with, and your heart is exposed to you, and you are not interested in kind of being something other than that. You know, this was a hard fought victory to get here. You've done a lot of work, and you have been through a lot of stuff to get to this shape, to get to this space. And you make no apologies for it, and you don't try to, you know, you want people to feel comfortable in your presence. You're super compassionate, you're super empathetic, you're very understanding. Like, I'm getting all those things. But like, at the same time, you're not also then going to compromise your truth to be like, oh, okay, I'll accommodate your version of that. You instead are like, okay, I'll listen to you, I'll hear you, you know, I'll take it in, I'll consider it, but then I'm also going to show you my perspective, or show it to you from my point of view, in a very non-threatening, non-judgmental, non-conflictory way. Is that a word? Right. So it's kind of like this person is, it's almost like their whole perspective of like themselves, their attitude toward themselves and their own life is sort of being altered in this process. Like the way they're viewing themselves, how maybe even like how they feel about themselves, or even how it's even like affecting that, you know, it's like they're sort of asking themselves more questions about, why am I doing this? Does this make me happy? Is this really fulfilling? Is this what I need to be doing with my time? Like, they're asking themselves bigger questions about their life. And in that way, it's like they are taking the hammer and the chisel finally to the marble, and they're getting down to it. They're starting to ask themselves questions that are very illuminating. And I think at first, like, I hear this energy of like, hello, and it's like echoing in an empty hallway. Like, they don't even know where to begin. They don't even know, they don't even know who they are kind of enough to like answer the question. It's like, it's so confusing to them. But they're building this relationship with themselves, and they're building this deeper understanding of what happiness feels like and what happiness looks like. And I think that they're kind of starting to figure it out, because when they're with you, they feel something that they don't otherwise feel, and that maybe they haven't felt. And it is, I feel it springing up like bubbles from the gut, you know, just like, woo, you know what I mean? And so now they're like, oh, does this make me feel like that? Well, if not, then I'm going to be doing that, because I don't want to be doing stuff that doesn't make me feel like this when this is an option. You know, I mean, there are things we have to do, right? But it's like, I see this person starting to navigate making priorities in their own life. You even have this card here that says, choose what makes you happy. In this only in the darkness can we see the stars. That's that feeling of saying hello down an empty hallway and having it echoed back, you know, and it's kind of like not really knowing where to find the answers. And there's this quote that is, you know, when you look around and you only see darkness, you know, realize that you are the light in that space. And it's like this person's whole perspective is shifting. It's like they've been looking for the stars. They've been looking for their cues. They've been looking for these, you know, this is how to handle this situation, and this is who to be when you're with these people, and this was what makes this person laugh, and this is what makes this person happy, and this is what this person likes. But they have all these ideas about other people, but when it comes to themselves, they're just really not sure. And so there's this whole energy, you know, in order to tap into your own creativity, you kind of have to know yourself, or you have to be able to connect to the seat of your soul, right? That's where creativity comes from. And authentic creativity, you know, yeah, we can copy other people, and yeah, we can, you know, do what's already been done and do what other people do, for sure, no problem. You know, that all that takes is studying and doing, you know. But to be your own genuine artist and to tap into your truth, it requires experimentation. It requires, you know, not being afraid to fail, and not being afraid to to find whatever's in there. And, you know, sometimes some people are afraid of what's in there, you know? So there's this whole energy, there's just this whole aliveness that is springing forth out of this connection. For some of you, again, I'm getting the sensation that this could be a past person or someone you've been in separation with, or someone who kind of backs away from time to time. You have meditation promotes well-being. And so it's almost like, you know, when this almost feels a little chaotic within this person, where it's like, you know, they just don't know what's going to come up. And it's a whole like kind of mindset change or shift. And so there's almost this energy of needing to catch up, or, you know, needing to grow into the space that they're even clearing within themselves, or needing to kind of rest and just let it sink in and soak in, and then it's like they're back at it again. So so I don't know, it's a very interesting energy. I actually really think it's kind of fabulous. So let's dive into the tarot. I'm going to do a 9-card spread here, so it's just going to take me a second to get your cards. I always shuffle and let what wants to come out, rather than shuffle and then like take the cards off the order. So it just takes a minute, and I'm sorry about it. But what a tremendous gift to give someone, to put them in touch with themselves, or to even make them, you know, like aware of another way of being. You're getting the Sun, the King of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, the Knight of Cups, the Tower, the Three of Swords. Okay. Wow. Okay. The Strength card, the Two of Wands, the Six of Pentacles. And on the bottom of the deck, you have the Emperor. Some of you may be dealing with an Aries. You also have Scorpio and Leo, and lots of Leo. And then you also have the King of Cups, which feels significant. So it could be a water sign. You also have the King of Cups crowning the Tower. So some of you are probably definitely dealing with a Scorpio. You know, this is really interesting. It is really giving me that something has been illuminated to someone here. It's been made very clear. There's been a light shined on something. And the sun, the energy of clarity that the sun brings is an energy of healing. And, you know, right next to it is the God of spiritual healing that you got in the beginning here. And this may be, you know, when you first heal yourself, then you can help others heal. And it may even be something where this is a mutually sort of healing energy, you know. It's weird. I don't want to say, I don't like, it's like the energy that I'm super picking up on is it's an energy of acceptance. It's just, it's so like strong, and it's like self-acceptance and being accepted by another person wholly and completely as your actual authentic self. And when we accept our whole self, and well, let's just start with that. When we accept our whole self, right, we're able to overcome our lower vibrational tendencies very easily, because we're not resisting them, we're not suppressing them, we're not pushing them down and trying to act like they don't exist, which oftentimes just makes them bigger and stronger and more obvious. We are instead willing to look at them and willing to find our own authenticity, and willing to heal those parts that weren't accepted. And when I say heal them, it's almost more of healing our own attitude towards them. Because you know, we're born in a state of peace. We're not born going, oh my gosh, this is wrong with me, that's wrong with me, this is wrong with me, that's wrong with me. So where does that this is wrong with me, that's wrong with me come from? Well, it comes from our parents, it comes from our siblings, it comes from our friends, it comes from society, it comes from commercials on TV and movies and books and all these places that would have us believe that we all need to be one certain way, or there are certain things that are unacceptable, or there are, you know what I mean? That's so we are born into a state of peace, and that is our natural way of being, and we spend the rest of our life trying to get back there. This is what I learned in yoga teacher training. And so what brings us to a place of peace is actually acceptance. And this the Page of Cups is our authentic self for me. That's what that card is. And so in this first column, you know, you have the Sun, the Page of Cups, and the Strength card. Two cards of Leo and the Page of Cups smack in between them. And Leo is a sign that is known to have the biggest heart in the zodiac, but oftentimes their heart gets hurt, and they have a reputation of being sort of arrogant and douchey, because it usually comes from they've been hurt and now they're trying to protect that heart at all costs, and that's how they cover up their vulnerability. So but in this case, my feeling is just you may be dealing with someone who hadn't really ever explored their own true identity with themselves. And it's not that it wasn't there, it was always there. You know, the David was always existing and living inside that piece of marble, even when it was still attached to the earth, right? He was there, you know, he had to be carved out, but he was there. And, you know, it's kind of like that here. It's like that DNA, that essence, that soul, that, you know, that authentic self was always inside. But until we start asking the questions, and until we get curious about it, and until something sort of wakes us up, right? I don't want to overuse that phrase, but in essence, that's a lot of times what happens. And it feels like this connection is kind of doing that for at least one person. And man, I just got the strongest message of, in order for them to accept the love that you're offering them, which they desperately do, they first have to accept themselves and love themselves. You know, and their truth, the honest account of who they are. And like, honestly, I keep getting this thing about decisions, and I see we have decisions coming up here with the Two of Wands, and the Emperor is, you know, but one of the biggest elements of the Emperor is that he does make decisions in the highest and best of not just himself, but all. And so there's this energy here of, you know, in order to really make a decision that's in your highest and best, and in the highest and best of all, you have to know who the hell you are. You know, you have to know what it is you want, what it is you care about. You have to know your own heart. You can't, I mean, you can, and we see people all the time make decisions that are going to make other people happier, that are going to conform, or that are going to, you know, look good for this purpose or that, or look good on paper or whatever, right? We see people choose careers and husbands and wives and, you know, raise children to be doctors, lawyers, and engineers. And, you know, we see this happen all the time in society, right? But, you know, when we do that, when we are making decisions for other people, we're kind of learning the lesson that is meant for whomever we're making them for. And if we're basing our success on whether or not that person or those people say we're worthy, or say we're okay, or say that, you know, it is right, or we've done a good job, well, we are sometimes going to be riding high because some people sometimes, you know, graduate from medical school and see what happens. People are like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. You got friends coming back from all over the place. I've got a cousin who's a surgeon, and I was there when he graduated, you know. So, you know, it's like, you're gonna have real high moments like that where everybody is coming together like, oh my gosh, that same cousin got divorced. And a lot of people were like taking sides and saying, well, you know, she this and he that and blah, blah, blah. So, and that was a real low point for him where he was just like, oh my gosh, and I'm like the same person everybody was coming to for this and that. But like now, you know, they aren't talking to me, or they're, you know, worse yet, like talking badly about me because they're just listening to what she said or whatever. She was a rough one. That was a rough divorce. But the thing is, it's like, we're not living our truth when we're making those decisions. And so in order to actually really be happy, you know, I mean, at least the way I've experienced it, and from what I know and from what I've studied in what I've learned in my life through going through an awful lot and trying to please other people a lot in my life, and sometimes winning and sometimes losing at it. I know that when I finally stopped caring and I started to saying to myself, you know, who are you? What do you want? What do you like? I remember, like, this is crazy. I mean, I don't know, maybe it isn't crazy, but when my husband and I bought our first house and we were buying furniture and stuff, the whole time I was like, what would my mother pick out? Literally. And I bought all of these pieces of furniture that were like completely my mom's taste and style. And when my mom came, she hardly even said anything like, oh, it looks good or it doesn't look good, or, you know, she couldn't be bothered by it. But one day my sister said to me, you know, I just don't associate you with any of this. Like this looks like, you know, much more like the house we grew up in than you and your personality. And I was like, oh, well, when I was buying it, I was thinking, what would mom buy? And she goes, what? Why did you say that? Like, why were you even thinking that? And I was like, why was I? You know, my sister, she lived in California. She had like all this cool, like Scandinavian, mid-century modern mix. It was all very organized. And I mean, cause she didn't have a lot of space, but every piece was like super cool. And she had this like funky style that was nothing like my mom's. And I don't think it was really hers. I think it was more just like California, because I don't think she still knows herself. But when I sometimes think about it, I sometimes look back and think, you know, and I lived with that furniture for a really long time. When one of my best friend's daughters went to college, because she was quite a bit older than my daughter, I said to her, hey, do you want all my furniture? And I was like, come over and take whatever you want. I'm done. And she was like, seriously? And I was like, yeah. And so she came over and she literally loaded up her U-Haul with all my furniture. And I was never so happy to give anything away in my entire life. I was just getting rid of all of that. It felt like this huge weight was lifted off of me. And then I set about asking myself, what do you like? What do you want? What do you want this to look like? And because before we bought our house and we bought furniture, we were just taking hand-me-downs, you know, so I never ever thought about, you know, what is my style until this moment. And at that moment, I was like 40 or 45 years old, you know? And so anyway, I bought some things. I didn't go crazy. And I thrifted some stuff with my daughter. It was fun. And had them like reupholstered. I really went all out. And, you know, I'm still discovering and uncovering and going, yeah, I really like this. But when people come over to my house now, they'll always say like, gosh, your house just feels so good. Like it feels so homey. Like I really love coming over. People literally say that to me. And I've never had anyone say that to me before. And they'll always be like, it's so beautiful and it's so you. And, you know, I mean, I was a photographer, so my my photography is everywhere. I mean, it literally is me, but I mean, I also have crystals all over, and you know, it's all a lot of like wood and slate and stuff like that. But it's whenever I need to buy something, I look at all the options and I ask myself, what am I gravitating to? And it's such this process, but it is something that I really look forward to. And it's something that has brought me a lot of like gratification, and it's honest and genuine gratification. And, you know, I feel that within this person, it's kind of like once you start that process, once you start making decisions that feel so good like that, once you start making something yours, it kind of just keeps getting better and better and better. You know, it's like, and it's sort of addicting, and it makes it worth it to sort of, you know, deal with the shadows. Look at, why did I ever think that I should pick out furniture that my mom liked? Because I was seeking her approval. I was seeking her approval my entire life, and she was never going to get it, you know, and it just feels so much better to seek my own approval. And, you know, and then when people say something to me, like when I have an external gratification, like, I mean, I have neighbors, like we redid our house, like a lot of stuff in our house changed. Like we put new floor in a whole huge part of our house, and like all kinds of stuff. And when people come over, we changed all the light fixtures, like like all the door handles, like everything. People come over and they're like, what? Like they can't believe it, because our whole street was built at the same time. So anyway, it's one of those things where I was very brave. There were a lot of decisions that I made where I just, I was scared to death, but I did it. And they paid off. And, you know, now when I look at them, and now when I look around, and I remember making the decision, I remember everything, and I remember being brave, and all of that reflects back to me so much more than just the flooring, so much more than just this, so much more than just that. And I feel like that's what's happening for this person. It's like their whole life is actually starting to change. They're starting to ask themselves different questions and look at things in other ways, where I feel like they were almost on automatic pilot, or almost like a little bit robotic before. It's like they're finding within themselves this new adventurous, expressionistic kind of self. And nothing feels better than that. Nothing brings more genuine happiness than that, than being who you really are, stepping into your authenticity and like showing it up. And yeah, so when every decision comes up for this person, they are much more willing to face their lower vibrational tendencies. That may be the first answer that comes to their mind, but they're learning how to say, you know what, I don't accept that. You know, how do I really feel? And if the answer isn't coming to me, then maybe I'm going to take my time. I'm going to figure it out. But this is like a major shift, a major change for this person. And I feel like it's in process. It's happening, you know? I think that they are getting a lot more clarity about who they are and about what this is, and about, you know, it's, I don't want to like sugarcoat it or put some positive spin on it. This is a very hard thing to do. This is one of the hardest things we can actually do as people, is say, you know, I just don't give a shit what anybody thinks. This is me, and this is what I'm doing. It's a very, very tricky, hard thing. And to then also not fear judgment. I don't fear judgment when people come to my house, because I don't give a crap if they like it or they don't like it. I don't care, you know? And so it's, you know, you're free from this entrapment. This strength card came out in reverse. So this has not happened yet. This is also very much a future position, but this is where it's leading. This is where it's coming to. And this is very hard. And it may even be something that is very much mirrored, right? And then I see there's this King of Cups with the Tower underneath it and the Two of Wands underneath it. And, you know, the King of Cups, you know, I have to clarify the Tower. But the King of Cups is this energy of learning how to regulate and manage your own emotion, and to not be someone who, you know, reacts, you know, who maybe even gets fearful or afraid, having their own reaction, right? But they do consider their response. They do consider their emotions when responding. Okay, see, there's something here where, there's something here where there's like, this is all sort of coming to a place of making some kind of offer. And honestly, it feels like the universe provided this opportunity, not just for this person, but for you, to have a solid and stable partnership or relationship, or this is the opportunity. This is someone that where the potential exists, where that can happen. But it's obviously, right, a work in progress. It's obviously not like, oh, I meet you, you meet me, we know this is what it is, and we just like go through the motions. This is like a true, you know, it's forcing us to kind of face ourselves. And I feel like it's almost as if this person developed deep emotions without really realizing it, and then something happened that made them realize it. And I don't know if this is like a change, like a breaking apart, a falling apart of the relationship, or if it is some kind of breakthrough thought of, oh my gosh, what if I lost this person, that awakens them to these feelings. There is a spiritual lesson tied to this. So, remember how I said it's this person, I feel like I was talking about bubbles that were rising up from the gut, and it was like they've now felt this feeling that they hadn't felt before, and so they didn't want to spend time with people who didn't make them feel this way because they liked feeling that way. Well, this is what I'm getting here with the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is so tricky because it can be things that we have really invested a lot in, that, you know, because we have invested so much in them, we don't really just want to walk away from them. And sometimes we give them more chance than they deserve. But there comes a point where we have this realization of, you know what, I'm not going to be happy like this, you know. And for me, it's this energy with the Queen of Wands. It's like, I know what it's going to take to make me happy now. Or I've been exposed to a new level of happy, or a new feeling that I hadn't felt before. And now I know that that's possible. That level of emotional contentment is possible. And it may be that they're seeing in you the Nine of Cups, right? That they're seeing in you someone who is emotionally content on their own, someone who can have their own feelings and be true to themselves and be emotionally content. And it's a different kind of emotional contentment than it is just from always knowing the right thing to say and the right thing to do to get the right response, and deriving your happiness from that space, which is a very fickle energy that is constantly fluctuating and going up and down, and is constantly shifting and changing, and you have no control over it. And it's not truly authentic to you. So the happiness only comes from the response of the other person, which is very short-lived, you know. So this person is learning a lot of spiritual lessons around, what they have invested in, and what true emotional contentment looks like, and being willing to leave behind this idea of trying to make other people happy, or even all these people that almost maybe now have the expectation that this person is always going to do what they want because they make them happy, because they want to please them. And so this could be a larger falling apart of things. Like, For example, if your parents are like, well, like on one of the baking shows on Netflix, there was this girl who had gone, I think, to MIT and gotten an engineering degree, and her parents were like so proud of her. And then what she really discovered is that she felt soulless doing her job, and that she was coming home and baking was making her really happy. And so she decided to become a baker instead, something like that. And I think her parents were really upset, and she was like on this show to like prove to them that she could like do something amazing as a baker. You know, it's so this energy can be very tricky. You can feel like your whole world is very unstable, and like where you once had this sure footing of, I know what these people expect from me, and all I have to do is sort of be the dancing monkey, and then they'll be happy. But recognizing that the level of emotional contentment you can get from that is not the same as when you truly go after what you really desire. And so, so for this person, there's a lot shifting, and it may feel as though the ground is coming out from underneath them a little bit, or like everything in their life may feel a little chaotic or in sort of a spot of upheaval. It may even be that this person, it may be time for them to leave something else as well. You know, with the Tower and the Eight of Cups, it can just be where things that haven't been working or haven't been fitting or don't really align with your soul path are kind of falling apart to make you have to sort of walk away from them, because you're meant to find your own real true authenticity and happiness. Bubby, come here. This is the heart. This is the center of your spread. And, you know, this is kind of, this is one of those like major life-changing events. This is a major arcana. And it's something that I feel like was unavoidable. It was something that always had to happen. For some reason, this Page of Pentacles is also giving me, you know, you may be dealing with someone who is at a particular stage in their life where it's time for them to grow up in this way, or it's time for them to like there's a deeper need for them to kind of have all these things sort of fall apart at once, or you know, it may not be even necessarily fall apart, but kind of come together at one moment where it's like a lot of things are changing at the same time. Things are changing within them. Things are changing outside of them, potentially. It is, you know, for their greater good. It is divine intervention that is leading them, I feel like, down a path of, you know, being able to truly find contentment within themselves and truly find their own path. But Pisces, with the Queen of Wands just sitting here this entire time, it almost feels as though you're this place of stability, and you are sort of the focus of their desire, and you're not, you know, chasing it, you're not forcing it, you're not doing anything. You're sort of staying true to yourself, and you're sort of staying in your authenticity, and you're sort of knowing who you are and what you want and what you desire. And that's so incredibly attractive to this person, because it lets them know that it's possible, that all these things are not just falling apart or changing for no reason. It's that they're able to look at you and say, wow, you know, this is the process of becoming that, and I want to be that. I'm attracted to that. I like that. You know what I mean? And then we have this Two of Wands at the base of all this energy. And we have the Ace of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. And, you know, it is kind of giving me where this person, I feel Page of Pentacles, two Ace of Pentacles, this Two of Wands. There is this energy where I feel like this person is sort of faced with some level of commitment. And when you've got a Tower going on in the middle of the spread, it feels like a lot of things feel very uncertain to this person. I feel the one thing they are sure about is that they are attracted to you and they do want this. But I feel like they're feeling like, see how she's almost like hopping or skipping? It's almost kind of this energy of, you know, when you're just sort of, oh God, trying to outrun the guillotine, you know, or like you're trying to like stay on firm ground as everything is sort of shaking and falling, and you're just kind of like, okay, let me just get through this moment. And it's like this decision is sort of out here, over here, sort of lurking, but this person is really focused on where they're putting their steps. And I feel like it's because of this kind of volatile, chaotic change energy that's happening here in the center. I don't think it has anything to do with the decision itself. You know, I think that it's just another decision that this person needs to make. In the last column, we have the Ace of Pentacles, the Three of Swords, and the Six of Pentacles. This column, it's like, okay, this almost feels like the universe is having their way with this person. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm gonna offer you something that I know you really want, something that, you know, when you look at it, you can tell, wow, this is the beginning of a path to security, stability, and abundance. And that's what I have really always wanted and always been looking for and always asked for, you know? And here it is. It's right in front of me. But I don't just get to grab it and go. I first have to face my own suffering. I have to look at things. I have to go deep in to myself. I have to meet my depth and be willing to feel even the things that don't feel good in order to be able to reciprocate, in order to be able to accept the love that Pisces is offering me and return it back to Pisces. You know, I have to be able to do both. And, you know, depending on where our suffering is or what our trauma is or what we are feeling or what we have dealt with or what we are dealing with, you know, it can sometimes be more difficult for people to accept it. And sometimes it can be more difficult for people to return it. But this feels like the quandary that this person is at. It's restoring the balance within themselves to be able to, you know, reciprocate, to hold up their end of the bargain of this opportunity that they've been given. And in order to do that, they can't be suppressing their emotion. They have to be able to sit with the hurt, sit with the pain, and know that that is, you know, it's not just about the warm, fuzzy feelings. It's not just about feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm with Pisces. You know, it's also, it's like, okay, I have to also deal with those shadows. I have to deal with the blockages, the burdens, the things that are kind of taking up space in my garage, the things that I've just been like, I don't know what to do with this. And I put it in my garage and I close the door. You know, I got to go out in the garage and I got to look at all that stuff and I've got to get rid of it. I got to have a garage sale, or I got to donate it, or I got to get Habitat for Humanity to come pick it up, like whatever it is. I got to look at it and I got to deal with it. You know, there's this method of organization, and it's like trash, keep, sell. It's like 3 things. I do this every time I move out of my house, like every time I move. Not that I move like all that often, but you know, where I'll just get those plastic bins. I have some, and then I just put, you know, trash, keep, sell, and I would have my kids do their rooms like that. And then, you know, I would go through all my stuff. And the 3 of Swords, it's like 3 things. It's like 3 swords, and it's giving me trash, keep, sell, you know? So it's kind of like this person could be very organized or very pragmatic, and they may even need like an approach to emotion that feels less emotional, like that feels kind of manageable in order for them to do it. I remember when I learned that method, I think it was on like House Hunters International, or I don't know, it was some HGTV show. I was like, oh, I can do that, because I used to have a really hard time getting rid of stuff. And I hadn't learned about Marie Kondo yet, but now I have, and now that works for me. But it was like, it made it manageable for me to look at my stuff and go, yeah, okay, I'm ready to get rid of this. Okay, yeah, you know, I feel fine about that as long as I sold it for something. But like, yeah, And it sort of feels like that, where this person, it's like they need a manageable way. Like it's like they haven't dealt with it in so long that just like opening the door is probably pretty scary, but like opening the door and like facing it, I feel like it, and like actually making progress with it, it feels almost to me as though either they're developing their own method, or they're learning some method, or even, you know, sometimes on your For You page on Instagram or Threads or whatever it is that you guys do, or that they do, it's like there'll be some random thing. And I don't think it's random at all. I think the universe plants that stuff there. But it may make them think like, oh, this is how you handle it. Oh, this is how you go about this. And it's like, as soon as they can put that in, that like apply that method, it's like they can really make progress. And it's like, it, you know, it feels like an evolutionary process that they'll eventually work through, but like it's a start. It's somewhere for them to say, okay, I'm willing to do this. This is a jumping off period. But it leads to this energy of reciprocity of, okay, Pisces, I can now give back to you what you were giving me, and I can now accept it because I know I'm worthy of it. I know I deserve it, and I know I can return it. And so it's like freeing this person up to be able to sort of reciprocate, to be able to make bigger, better decisions that I feel like they may have avoided in the past. So, yeah, this is definitely someone learning how to regulate their emotions and, you know, learning how to be able to meet you as deeply as I feel like you've met yourself. And this can be a process that you are sort of going through, even mirroring each other or going through at the same time in different ways. Or this may be something that you learned how to do that you are helping someone else work through at this time, or that it's like you may not even be helping them like directly, but like inspiring them through your own like way of being even. All right, Pisces, let me get you some messages. If you're dealing with a water sign, you were so unexpected. Yeah, you hit me out of nowhere. Man, that is this reading. Excited. Yes. The changes are real. I mean, Pisces, hello. These cards, oh my goodness. Also, guys, somebody commented that they had a dream that I was in the other day. I love it. I love it when you guys tell me these things. Like I totally understand and relate, and I always get something out of the story. So, you know, feel free to always share that. And also, someone said yesterday in the comments that Earth sign has gotten the same card repeatedly. I find that very interesting. And so please point those things out. I really love these observations that you guys make. I can't observe everything. And like, especially in this part, I'm on a siesta. I'm just reading a card here. This takes it out of me. All right, if you're dealing with a fire sign, I regret how I handled things before. Wishy-washy. They may not have been able to make up their mind because they didn't know. See that Two of Wands where she's not paying attention. Secret. I remember everything you said. All right, if you're dealing with an earth sign, we do have a lot of fire sign energy in this reading. Okay, if you're dealing with an earth sign, trust me, repressing, I had no idea you would end up meaning so much to me. Recurring theme here. I want a future with you. All right, and if you're dealing with an air sign, you're getting annoyed, guarded. If I had only known then what I know now, and I want to talk to you. All right, Pisces, this is what I have for you. Happy Pisces season. Woohoo! Are we all super excited or what? All right, thank you guys so much for joining me. I really hope this reading brought you some peace and clarity. If it did, let me know. Leave me a comment, like the video, subscribe. I watch all those things, and I appreciate them all. All right, until next time, guys, thank you so very much. Sending you off with all my best. Always, always, always. Bye-bye.